What's up, guys? We're going to get to the video in just a quick second here, but first I want to show you one thing real quick. Take a look at this. You see that? Over 65% of you who are watching this video right now are not subscribed. So you like what we're doing, but you're not subscribed yet. What's going on? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. More importantly, hit the bell, and you'll be notified every single time we put out a new video. This will be our third one this week. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, and you can enjoy great videos like this.
You know, Joe, I was telling Rachel the last time we did a show that one of these days we're gonna come onto this show, and it's not just gonna be a shitstorm of negativity on our Boston local teams, which we used to talk so fondly about. But unfortunately, we're back again to talk about the New England Patriots. Hi, everybody. It's Craig D'Alessandro here from the 617. Welcome into the 617, brought to you by the Crowworthy Network. I'm Craig D'Alessandro. I'll see if I can do it right this time. This over here is Joe Malcolm. The screen is mirrored. I have to point the other way than I want to. Hi, Joe. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I could be better in terms of how our teams are doing, but I'm doing all right.
You know, I feel reasonably well with the Celtics when they're on the court, but not when they're off it, though.
Yeah, this could all just go terrible this winter. I mean, the Red Sox have already been eliminated. The Patriots clearly have their issues. The Bruins with a first-year head coach and a bad GM who's buddy with the president, and then the whole thing with the Celtics, Don Sweeney and what's his face? They're buddies.
Oh, you were talking about the president.
No, I mean that'd probably be better than being buddies with Don Sweeney. But besides the point,
I'd love to be buddies with the president. Hi, everybody. We're here to talk about the Patriots again today. I don't have my hat today. I feel naked. But we're going to talk to you for about the next hour. We have, I would call this now, we're in the stomach of the news cycle now, where we've digested partially where we are at right now. We have a lot more information than we did on Sunday evening. Mac Jones, a severe high ankle sprain. Looks like it's going to sideline him for at least a month. Side note, stay tuned this Friday afternoon. We're going to have an interview with Doc Flynn, NFL. She is probably the go-to NFL injury source. I'm going to talk to her on Thursday morning. We'll have that out Thursday afternoon, so I'm looking forward to that. Big thanks to Doc Flynn for that. We'll talk to her on Thursday. But Joe, we know now that obviously the Patriots don't ever say much, and it's one of the things I've hated about this franchise for 20 plus years, at least in this era. We know more than they are actually telling us, in the fact that Mac Jones is going to be out for, I would say, at least a month, and it's going to be Axel Hoyer probably starting this week in Green Bay. So
listen, you got to keep this consistent. If you're not going to call Mac McCorkle, you can't call Brian Hoyer Axel.
It's so much more fun.
It is, but if we're not calling Mac McCorkle, then I don't know if we can call Brian Axel. He's got to deserve that name. Actually, you know what? He deserves the name. He should be. I mean, it's literally his given name, so of course he deserves the name Axel. But he deserves it because he's the one that I'm least upset with in this Patriots organization at this point.
Out of everybody?
Out of everybody that I believe has a coaching role within this organization.
Yes. We do have our little unnamed source that says why Brian Hoyer is the backup quarterback. But that's neither here nor there. Looks like he's going to be starting this week in Green Bay. We didn't talk to you Sunday when we obviously you saw it with your own two eyes. We didn't talk to you on Sunday when the injury happened to Mac Jones. What are your thoughts on that and what happened, and your overall thoughts on the game? The 37-26 loss to the Ravens, which I actually thought was an excellent football game. I thought that was a pristine signature Patriots-Ravens game. As far as the football game was, I thought it was great. Hated the result. But overall, I thought it was a good football game.
It was a close football game. It was closer than the final score line dictated. The Ravens are who we thought they were, to quote Denny Green, RIP. They are who we thought they were. That's a good football team. And unfortunately, I had a lot of Patriots fans around me on Sunday who don't seem to know anything outside of Foxborough. I was going to say Foxborough Stadium, outside of Gillette Stadium. Maybe I'm just looking for a better time. But they don't seem to know any. They're like, calling Justin Tucker a bum. I'm like, this dude's the best kicker in football. They're calling Mark Andrews a bum. He's one of the best tight ends in football. And you see Lamar Jackson carving up the secondary and running through the front seven. That's a good football team that they have there. And everybody's like, well, who do they have for wide receivers? Well, Devin Duvernay is a pretty damn good wide receiver. They have a good football team. I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl, but that's a damn good football team. And, maybe a loss to them was in the cards. That's a much better football team than the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was nice to see the Patriots put up a lot of points. I think that 2 of 3 of Mac Jones's interceptions were due to play calling. I think the play calling was suspect at best. And I was always the one that came on here and gave Josh McDaniels a lot of crap for his play choices. No, this was abysmal and inexcusable on Sunday. And these 2 clowns that are running this offense. All right, let's stay. I'm going to stay on topic here. Let's stay on topic with the Mac Jones thing. When Mac Jones went down, I kind of had a similar reaction to a couple of coworkers and friends that I've talked to since then, and where it was, oh, that's broken.
Oh yeah, I saw a bunch of people like that. I saw a bunch of people like, that's his Achilles. He tore his ACL or something like that. No, that's quite clearly an ankle injury.
Yeah, and that's and definitely not an Achilles. High ankle sprain is better than it could have been. The biggest thing about this is, I mean, this is typical time and world of social media and Twitter. And again, we've talked about the news cycle. It's gone from being 24 hours to 24 minutes. The dude's going to miss time. Brian Hoyer's the quarterback. Patriots fans are going to have to deal with that. A lot of people don't know a lot about Brian Hoyer. Most of them probably didn't even know that his first name is actually Axel. Brian Hoyer is a journeyman quarterback who has spent a lot of time with the New England Patriots and was Tom Brady's right-hand man. His brain is brilliant when it comes to football. His body is not as good. He's not a great. He's not even an average NFL quarterback. He's a below average NFL quarterback, but he understands the system, understands the scheme, and honestly, I think he's planning a lot of it. So I'm excited to see Brian Hoyer play. I'm not excited that Mac Jones is out. This isn't my excitement like when Jimmy G came back in for the 49ers 2 weeks ago. Again, it's not because of the injury. I hope Trey Lance is fine. I would have been excited for Jimmy G to come back regardless of who the quarterback he was replacing was. Mac Jones is a good NFL quarterback. Mac Jones is now hurt. And Mac Jones needs to get over this injury. And I'm thinking he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, which gets us to Halloween, Thanksgiving. And the season is still not over. I think we can limp through I say we, as if I'm on the team. I think the Patriots can limp through the next 4 to 6 weeks as they don't have much after Green Bay. They have Detroit at home in 2 weeks. I think Brian Hoyer can beat the Detroit Lions, though that Detroit Lions team is the 3rd highest scoring offense in the league, only behind, third to the Ravens, who are 2nd. So they can put up some points, although they do make some questionable coaching decisions as well. So who knows? It could be a battle of the questionable coaching decisions by current Lions head coach and a former Lions head coach.
So you mentioned you don't think Mac Jones has been a bad quarterback. I've heard a lot from, and I'm personally with you on this one. I don't think Mac Jones is that good. A lot of people who say that don't actually only watch the game on Sunday, don't have a DVR or whatever like that, or don't watch the All-22 like I do, because I have nothing better to do, to be honest with you. But I think Mac's, like, obviously the results, the numbers have taken a regression this year, no doubt about it. But I think as far as like the playmaking, the decision making, and his overall command of the offense, I think he's taken a big step forward. Yes, the stats have taken a big step back. But people will point to the game yesterday. He threw 3 interceptions. Was it 3 interceptions, 2 interceptions, something like that? Whatever.
3.
Was it 3? He threw 3 interceptions. That's the only thing they're going to really speak about. And it's the fact, and they're ignoring the fact that he drove the team down for 3 touchdown drives that they're completely ignoring. They're ignoring the fact that he had led them, that he was responsible for getting 21 points on the board.
But nobody focuses on the good stuff because everybody expects the good stuff. Everybody expects it to go. The writing for The Dark Knight was incredible. But it's like the Joker said in The Dark Knight, everybody's fine when everything goes to plan, even if it's chaotic. But the moment something changes, people lose their minds. And it's the same thing here. People will always, doesn't matter what walk of life you are, it doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, what you do, what you don't do. Everybody's always going to put a microscope over the small mistake that you make, because the stuff that you do right, they don't have anything to nitpick on. But the moment you do something wrong, and yet Mac threw 3 picks. Two of them were not his fault, and I'm defending him on the one he threw over the middle, where he was looking for Parker and the safety came across. He didn't read the DB right. That's 100% on him.
One criticism I'll put directly on Mac Jones, I think his QB vision needs to get a lot better, because Mac Jones loves throwing the triple coverage like I love Big Macs. Like, he just loves it. And I just don't understand that. And maybe it's because he just hasn't seen the linebacker coming or the safety coming. But I see these interceptions and they're like always in the triple coverage.
It's the coaching.
That too.
It's the coaching. It absolutely is the coaching. Let me look at this here. That was in college last year. He threw 22 touchdowns and 13 interceptions.
Yep.
So right now he's thrown 2 touchdowns and 5 interceptions through 3 games. So he would currently be on pace to throw 12 touchdowns and 25 interceptions. That's not accurate, and that's not the way that would go. Obviously, he's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks, maybe more. His
maybe less
lack of QB vision, to me, is due to the coaching. It's due to the coaching. He's a second-year quarterback, and you gave a second-year quarterback 2 failed NFL head coaches who are defensive and special teams coaches as your offensive play callers. Now, again, I said before the season, well, Matt Patricia was an offensive coach for the Patriots his first time around. Great, he was a freaking tight ends coach. He wasn't the offensive coordinator. Now he's calling plays. And they're putting these 50-50 balls up because they think that Devontae Parker and Nelson Aguilar are Randy Moss and friggin', I don't know, name another huge receiver. I mean,
the Patriots or like it doesn't matter.
The play calling is awful. The play calling, and here's the best example I can give you of all of this is a microcosm where the play calling caused 2 of the 3 interceptions, and the play calling lost them the football game. They had the ball 3rd and medium, maybe 3rd and 5 from their 30, roughly, and they call a pass play. Mac gets rushed. He rolls out to the left, fires up a ball to the end zone to Parker, and it gets picked off because he's not looking at it. He's just trying to get out of harm's way. He throws this interception, and it's an awful interception. But all they had to do was run the ball, get a few yards, and kick a field goal. You're going to need a touchdown regardless of what you do. You either get in now or you kick the field goal and get in later. The defense have been playing well. Sure, they gave up some points, but again, you're playing against one of the best and most prolific offenses in the league right now. Mark Andrews is an absolute animal. 8 catches, 100 and however many yards, and 2 touchdowns. Helped 2 of my fantasy teams, but that's besides the point. All they had to do was run the ball and kick the field goal. You have Nick Folk. Justin Tucker is the best kicker in the league. Harrison Butker is tops it, but Nick Folk has been nothing but consistent his entire time here. And he played for Joe Judge. He played for Matt Patricia. So what are we doing with the play calling? What is the play calling to go for the end zone in that situation when you don't need a touchdown at that moment? You just don't need to get it. Set yourself up for a field goal, get the 3 points, let your defense do some work. And if they don't, then you probably don't deserve to win. But you definitely don't deserve to win if you're having your second-year quarterback have a play called for him by a defensive coordinator and have him throw the ball up into the end zone for his 6'3" receiver who didn't even fight for the ball. He's not known to be a fighter for balls in the air. So what are we doing that for? It just it didn't make any sense.
It just, to me, it blows my mind that Bill Belichick, who's took Mac Jones 15th overall last year, pretty much I think we all assumed, and maybe we did right or wrong for either way, that he was going to be the next franchise quarterback of the New England Patriots. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Mac Jones went in to the Patriots in 2021 with, in my opinion, the standard Patriots offense. The play action, regular offense that Tom Brady ran for 20 plus years. 20 years, whatever. And it worked. And now Josh McDaniels leaves again. By the way, might be fired again soon, maybe.
No, he's not going to be fired again soon.
I'm talking like in a year. I'm talking like in a year or so.
Mark Davis will let him get through the season. He's got too good of a team there, but this isn't about him. But he's got too good of a team there to fail for too long.
Right, but getting back to my point, you just throw it away. You just throw the entire offense away. That I thought Mac Jones actually did pretty well, and pretty much you went from the very complex Patriots offense to trying to give it to guys like Patricia and Judge, who just don't understand it and are just thinking it doesn't work anymore because it's clear. You watch the Patriots game now, it's not the same Patriots that it was when Tom Brady was here, and it shouldn't be because right. Tom Brady's not here anymore. You can't asking Mac Jones to be Tom Brady is not fair. But I've seen him play college ball. I know he can make plays. I know he's a good player. I think that he still would have been able to run these things, and now you completely throw it away and ask him to learn a completely new offense under Patricia and Judge. And it just seems there's nothing really. They're trying to do the Kyle Shanahan West Coast offense. And maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. But I'm very angry at Bill. I know I'm going off on a long, different road.
Isn't it, to intervene there, isn't it funny, too, how Bill now wants to run the Kyle Shanahan offense, but he's also the guy that traded away the quarterback that Kyle Shanahan is now using?
Oh, sure.
All of this is a mind F to me. And I said it to you guys in the Discord earlier, and I'm going to go off what you just said, that you're mad at Bill. I'm out. I'm out on Bill. I'm not out on the Patriots. I'll never be out on the Patriots. I'm not out on Mac Jones. I'm not out on Brian Hoyer. I'm not out on any of the guys on the 53-man roster. There are some guys that probably don't play well that don't deserve to be there. That's fine. I'm not going to blame it on the players for the deficiencies and the absolute negligence of the coaching staff. It's negligence for a head coach that has been around forever, who has a losing record without Tom Brady, who sees Tom Brady go to South Florida, and he lost to Aaron Rodgers this week, which now Aaron Rodgers has an opportunity to beat Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in back-to-back weeks, which is just going to make his camp insufferable. But this team, this coaching staff is put together by a guy who's supposed to be the best coach in NFL history, and he's not. Right now, he's not. I think overall he is. When you look at the record, it doesn't matter if he did it with Tom Brady or not. You can't change history. Nothing's ever going to be different. He did it with Tom Brady. He's the best coach ever. Tom Brady is the best quarterback ever. End of story. And again, mostly opinion.
They're kind of fighting with each other, right?
Yeah. But so now you're telling me he comes in here without Tom Brady. He drafts a quarterback in the first round. And in this kid's second year, and as you just said, so I'm going to repeat what you just said. In his second year in the NFL, he throws away the offense that worked with the guy that did it for so long. And my assumption is you draft a guy to come in to be somewhat like that guy you lost in order to continue the success you had, because there's no need to change it. Don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So why are we changing it? He puts together a coaching staff with a defensive coordinator as his offensive coordinator, a special teams coordinator as the quarterback's coach, his son as the de facto defensive coordinator, his other son is the safeties coach. The only guy on this staff right now that's worth his salt is Gerard Mayo. And we don't even know if he's proven, but to me, he's the quietest and he's the most consistent.
What about Troy Brown?
What's that?
What about Troy Brown?
I don't know. He hasn't been back long enough. Like let's see what he can do. He's a wide receivers coach. I think he's doing fine because I think the wide receivers are playing just fine. He's also the return man coach, and Miles Bryant muffed a punt on Sunday.
Again,
who I was singing his praises in the preseason about how well he was doing. The 31 of 32 coaching staffs have been put together without negligence. Now there is some negligence because there's some coaches that have done some things wrong. We all know what happened to Britt Reed. There's John Gruden, blah, 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 whatever. And I don't mean whatever to dismiss them. I just mean this staff was put together with gross negligence.
Right.
They're not giving their coaches titles. They're not giving their coaches clear responsibilities. And there's 31 other teams in the league that are doing it. And if everyone else around you is doing something and you think you're right, but you're doing it wrong, or you're doing it some way different, you're probably the problem. I'm out on Bill. I'm out on this coaching staff. I think it's absolutely despicable what this coaching staff has done to this team. And if, I said it in the Discord too, if Bill were to leave tomorrow, I would expect all of the staff to go with him. Maybe with the exception of Gerard Mayo. He could be the interim, but I wouldn't be torn up if Bill wasn't the head coach tomorrow.
Do you think it would be different if it was Jonathan in charge instead of Robert?
Oh yeah. Bill would have been gone probably after the 2020 season.
Yeah, but I just don't think Robert has it in him to get rid of Bill. I really don't, because he just everybody loves Robert. Our RKK, we all know that. I just don't think I don't think he's got the stones, because this is going to be a problem. We came into the season, even in the best case scenario, Mac Jones plays all 17 games. They're a 9-win team, maybe, and that's not going to fly. And I think that Robert's just going to let that happen, because Bill's going to be like, we got a plan. I
think he's going to get tired of it, and I think we started to hear it in the offseason that he's getting tired of it. But another thing here is we're also looking at a position where Bill has a lot of power, and he's put himself in a position where getting rid of him is difficult, because then you need a head coach and a general manager. I think it was one of the worst decisions that Robert could have made to make him general manager. You don't have the incentive to come to Foxborough anymore. Mac Jones is an incentive to come to Foxborough. He's a good quarterback. He's going to be a good NFL quarterback. He might not be the answer for the Patriots. I don't know if he wants to be the answer for the Patriots. I don't think he's sold on this plan that they have moving forward. I think you're right. I don't think he would do it. I think Jonathan would pull the trigger on that. Do it. And it hurts to say it, because I think the run's over. And if it were to change tomorrow, give me, whoever. I mean, I said it earlier. We can go 7-10, 8-9 with Bill Belichick this year, which is what it's looking like. Or we can go 7-10, 8-9 with somebody else. I mean, that's an average head coach in the NFL posting that record,
which isn't great. And I think it's bad on us too, just because we're so used to seeing what we've been seeing for 20 years and be like, an average NFL football team, a below average NFL.
We've been brainwashed by Bobby and Dave and everyone else that's like, oh, you've had championships, so oh, now you're sinking, now you have to feel it, now you have nothing to talk about, you can't say that. It's like, yeah, I sure as hell can, because I'm a fan of this team and I want to see them be better. And right now they suck. And the coaching staff is one of the worst assembled coaching staffs in the NFL. I'm over it. And I reserve the right to be that way. It has nothing to do with the Super Bowls that we won 4 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I mean, Bobby's allowed to be pissed off every Sunday because, well, he's not this week because the Cowboys actually looked really good and Cooper Rush is playing a heck of a season of football.
Yeah.
But he's upset, and I'm sure he wants those glory days of the 90s back. Well, that's what I want. I want those glory days back, but I don't think Bill's going to be the guy to bring them to us anymore. So you want us to be middling and you want us to feel the pain? Great. I want to do it without Bill. I'm over it.
What frustrates me so much with Bill, and I'm not sure if this is a sentiment shared by everybody, but this is just my overarching theme of it. He's just so goddamn stubborn. He won't bring. It's like he gets shot in the
He
leg.
doesn't need to do anything because he's got the power.
Right, exactly. But he's a guy who's like just got shot in the leg, and is be like, I'm fine. I can keep going. I don't need any help. It's because if this is a regular, I think any of the other 31 franchises in the NFL, and the Patriots were going through what they're going through now, and it was any other franchises. Let's call it, for example, the Bengals. I'm just saying it because of the first thing that came to my head. I understand they're just coming off a Super Bowl. But let's imagine they weren't. And they had a new head coach. We want to go out to all the coaching corners and try and find the people that are best suited for these positions. We want to find the best offensive coordinator you can find, best defensive coordinator you can find, offensive line coach, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What does Bill Belichick do? Goes back to his guys, gives them jobs they've never had, and expects this team to not just tread water.
Imagine if he did that in like 2005. Imagine if in 2005 he was like, oh, or 2006, whenever it was that Romeo and Charlie left originally. And then he wanted to bring those guys back and not have to pay them, because that's part of the problem here is if there's something in the contracts of Joe Judge and Matt Patricia with the Giants and the Lions respectively, that if they're and this language isn't out there, like it's not public knowledge necessarily, but it's kind of obvious that if he were to name them a coordinator, he'd have to pay them more money, because right now the Giants and the Lions are paying them. But imagine if in 2006 he was like, well, we won 3 Super Bowls, so we're gonna bring back Romeo Crennel, we're gonna make him the offensive coordinator, and we're gonna bring back Charlie Weiss, and we're going to make him the defensive coordinator. And that's just what we're going to do. And I don't know if it would have flown back then, but like you just said, any other organization, let's say it's, who did you say? Cincinnati. Let's say Zach Taylor.
I was just picking one.
Well, let's say Zach Taylor did that. Let's hypothetical. Let's say Bill O'Brien is fired from Alabama for whatever reason. And Cincinnati says, we're going to go bring in Bill O'Brien to coordinate our defense. You think that's going to fly with a third-year coach like Zach Taylor? Something like that isn't going to fly. So why does it fly here? Because you won 6 Super Bowls? No, doesn't fly for me anymore. You got to keep doing the work, and he's just on cruise control.
Can I float a conspiracy theory by you? And basically, can I just float a conspiracy theory by you?
Yeah, without a doubt.
So my thinking into the situation is, and I'm not basing this on anything, but do you think that it could be, because remember the whole, false premise of a Belichick coaching tree and being able to leave Bill Belichick's coaching system and become, you get a head coaching job or something like that.
Mm.
And this is the reason why I think that one of the reasons why I think that Matt Patricia doesn't have the offensive coordinator title. I think, and I'm just guessing, I have nothing to base this on. Let's call it based on the people we've talked to over the past couple of years since we've been doing this. Let's call it an informed opinion, right? I believe that Bill is frustrated that people are leaving the Patriots, getting good jobs based on his name, based on where he came from, based on where they're from in New England, and just utterly failing. And that's a tarnish on his reputation. And so he's keeping it in-house of his guys.
Yeah, I mean, he did that with Josh, right? And Brian Flores went off and actually did pretty well, and then Stephen Ross helped screw up his career.
Yeah.
And we can't say that Mike Vrabel is from his coaching tree, because he's not really from his coaching tree. He played for him, he didn't coach for him. I think Bill and Robert are sensitive people. And I think for who they are and what they stand for, I think you're right. I think that's a big part of it. But, we'll get back on topic, because now we've rambled about Bill for a long time. But the thing with Bill is, without Tom Brady, and I'm coming to this realization. And I'm very much, I don't know, I wouldn't say I'm team Tom at this point, just because of everything going on with him.
I would say it's 80-20 team Tom at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm over that part. I mean, I just think Bill is not a good head coach. He's not not that he's not a good head coach, because Dave said it best. Dave said it best this morning. If we're gonna win games, it's gonna be him. It's gonna be him solely that wins the Patriots games, but his coaching is going to help them win games, and I agree with that. But he's not going to win any Super Bowls. That's just not going to happen. He doesn't have Tom anymore, and I guess if I have to pick teams, it's like when Twilight came out. Are you Team Edward or Team Jacob? I'm Team Tom.
You like those movies?
I didn't mind them. I didn't mind them. They were fine. I mean, it was in a former life.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I had an ex-girlfriend who really liked them, so I also liked Grey's Anatomy back then. But that's besides the point, Craig. Why don't we take a break for our sponsor, you bastard?
All right, if you're listening on the podcast version, you're about to hear my gorgeous baritones tell you about betus.com. If you're watching us later on YouTube or right now on Twitter, look down here below, betus.com. You can get 125% on your first sign up using the promo code CROW. If you're on the podcast, we'll be back to you in just a few moments. If not, we're here right now. We're just going to stay to it. And let's talk about this ankle here of Mac Jones, shall we?
Yeah, let's talk about this ankle, because I got some things to say about his ankle.
Let's talk.
It's really an Achilles heel for me. In the show notes, in the notes for tonight, I saw you mentioned him going to the I guess it's the foot doctor, basically, for the New York Ballet, and the New York and the Brooklyn Nets, and all those organizations. Good for him. He shouldn't. And anybody that gets on Mac Jones about going to get a second opinion, I disagree with you, because the Patriots screwed Rob Gronkowski a number of years ago. And it was the same situation where they diagnosed it and they wanted to get him out on the field faster than what a second opinion said it would take to get back on the field. And he took the second opinion, and the Patriots basically blackballed him. And that's Bill being a sensitive baby and not wanting to do the right thing. Mac Jones is 23 years old. He is actually 24. He just turned 24 on September 5th. He's 24 years old. He's in his second year in the NFL. He has a severe high ankle sprain, and they want to rush him back. You're not winning a Super Bowl with this roster, Bill. Sorry. And I know it's your job to try and win a Super Bowl with your roster, regardless of how it's constructed. Well, unless you're in Miami and then you get paid for losses, but that's on Stephen Ross. Don't rush him back.
I actually think the roster is not that bad.
It's not a bad roster. That's the thing. It's not a bad roster, but I don't think you're going to win a Super Bowl with it, even if you do have Mac Jones. But if you keep having Mac Jones throw up balls to Devontae Parker like he's playing backyard football, that ain't going to work. But he's going to get a second opinion, and he should. And then some people, well, the Patriots have great doctors. Well, the Patriots doctors work for the Patriots.
Yep.
So if Bill walks in there or Robert walks in there and says, how do we get this guy back the fastest that we possibly can, get him through the season? It's like, no, Max, he's too young for that crap. He's too valuable for that crap. It doesn't matter if it's for your team, another team, whatever it is. The kid also wants to be able to walk when he's 45. So I'm with him. I was with Gronkowski. I'm always with the players most of the time, 95% of the time, unless it's something ridiculous and egregious. If I keep scratching and you're watching, it's because this damn Patriots jersey is really hot. But I dug into the back of the closet and I pulled it out, so now I'm all sweaty. You can see it on my brow here. I'm all fired up about this Patriots team.
Is that the McCormick 32?
No, actually, it's Hank Poteet.
What a name.
What a name. I loved me some Hank Poteet. Hank Poteet, now he coaches, I believe he coaches college football somewhere. But yeah, he played for the Patriots for a cup of coffee. He was with the Steelers for a while. He was one of my favorite defensive backs. He was underrated, but he definitely, I mean, he wasn't a star. But anyway, besides the point.
Yeah.
Point is, Mac Jones has an ankle injury. He's out for a while. I think the Patriots are screwing him over. I think he's right to go get a second opinion. And if the Patriots want to battle him on it, then F them.
Well, the Patriots want him to get some kind of surgery, and Mac wants to rehab. And I think that obviously if he gets the surgery, he'll be back sooner. I don't think Mac wants to get the surgery. And
it's not really up to the team.
Yeah. What wasn't there a situation, you brought up the Gronk thing and it sparked my memory? Wasn't there a thing a couple of years ago where Gronk was like going to like sue the team doctor or something like that? So like,
yeah, he was going to sue the Patriots.
Yeah. Why would I understand that Gronk's a certain personality, but
you know, we sit here and we talk about how we joke with the Dolphins. We talk about how the owner of the Texans is a blatant racist. We joke about some of these owners and we talk about some of these other owners and how corrupt their organizations are. The Patriots are no different, and it shows through here. And I'm not saying it's Robert Kraft. I'm not saying it's Jonathan Kraft. I'm saying it comes from Bill Belichick. It comes from Bill Belichick. He very much is trying to do things to me, in my eyes, from what I see, my opinion, he very much is trying to do things like we see from the 80s and 90s in the NFL. What we saw in what was the name of that show they did about the NFL? And it was like a fictional deep dive. Was that Playmakers?
I think it was, yeah.
Any Given Sunday, you know, and it just shows this dirty side of the NFL and this dirty side of the sport of football. And I think Bill is trying to emulate that because he's so old school.
That was 2003 there, buddy.
Yeah. But it was based on what was going on in the 90s in football.
Sure.
And we look at guys like Lawrence Taylor, his favorite player of all time, and how this dude stayed on the field all the time. Of course he stayed on the field all the time. Dude was high on cocaine, Quaaludes. Like, Lawrence Taylor couldn't feel anything on Sundays. He couldn't feel anything.
He doesn't even remember he was drafted.
No. And this isn't me disparaging Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor is very likely the best linebacker of all time to play in the NFL. But he would be the first one to tell you that he was basically high all the time. And we're talking about some of these practices that are far outdated. I think Bill's been passed by this league. And I'm not saying everybody has to be soft like Cliff Kingsbury, giving his team cell phone time during meetings so that they can pay attention longer. And then, you know, we're not parenting here. This is a flipping job. But at the same time, some of the stuff that Bill does is questionable, and this is part of it. And I'm with Mac. Go rehab. Don't get yourself cut open. Too young for that. If you don't need it, you don't need it. take a longer time to get back. What were you saying?
I said some of the things Bill does is questionable.
I'm starting to realize a lot more of it is, and I think I'm hoping that at some point when Tom's done playing, he comes out and reveals everything. They must have to sign an NDA to play for the Patriots.
I don't think the
I mean,
NFL
I'm sure
can
they
ever
do
go
with
that.
every team because they don't want you sharing information. They don't want you sharing playbooks and whatnot. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Let's get Pat McAfee on.
What do you think of this? What do you think of this tightrope surgery that they specialize in Alabama that they want him to get? Apparently, it gets you on the field quicker.
Well, yeah, of course it gets you on the field quicker. I mean, but what are the long-term effects of it? And this is questions that I know Mac and his camp are going to be asking is what's the long-term effects of it? Because Tua and Jalen Hurts both got that surgery while they were at Bama.
Yes, both Tua and Jalen. Yeah,
And so great. And they're in the NFL and they're playing just fine. I mean, Tua might be out this Thursday, which I don't think he should have come back into that game on Sunday, but that's a different show. You guys can probably talk about that on your NFL show later in the week. But fine. I mean, if he wants to go get it, then he can go get it. That's the difference here. But if he doesn't want to go get it and he wants to rehab, then he rehabs. It's a high ankle sprain. We're not talking about a break. And now, severe high ankle sprain, I get that. But if there's no detached ligament, I'm not a doctor, but if there's no detached ligaments, no torn ligaments, no broken bones, then what do we need to go in for surgery for? Just rehab it and then come back. Or, you know, if you really have that much, I don't even know how much money they have invested in him. I don't have his contract up in front of me. Yeah.
450. It's a rookie deal.
So they're that concerned about it. Like you can go out and sign somebody, and clearly they have no faith in Bailey Zappi.
Don't check that, of course.
They have no faith in Bailey Zappi. They definitely don't want.
He's a first year quarterback.
So was Mac last year. That doesn't matter.
but he was. I think Mac was miles ahead of where Bailey Zappi was. I understand Bailey Zappi threw 60 touchdowns, but
sure, I agree. But that's not the point is that if you were ready to trot a first year quarterback out there last year as your starter, you can trot a first year quarterback out there this year as your backup. But if he's not ready, he's not ready.
Right.
That's the biggest thing here. If he's not ready, you can't just do that. But I also don't want him to go necessarily sign anybody because the first person they're going to go out and sign is Cam Newton, and I don't want to watch that mess again.
I don't think Bill would do that. Do you?
I don't know. Bill he's unpredictable to me right now.
Sorry, 660,000 for the Patriots this year.
All right. Listen, we've spent 43 minutes talking about this stupid injury, and I mean stupid in the sense that the Patriots are gonna screw this kid up. It's so funny when you're in the relationship, you can't see how jaded you are. But I'm done with it. But we've spent enough time talking about Bill and talking about Max. So what do we got next, Craig?
Well, we do have this game coming up against the Green Bay Packers. If we want to talk about that actual football,
sure.
All right, so the Patriots in this game are 10.5-point underdogs in this one, which I actually think is not fair. I actually think these teams are pretty even. I don't think Packers are necessarily that good this year. I understand they just beat the Buccaneers, but
they beat them 14-12. It's not like it's not like they ran them into the ground. I think that's how the Packers are going to beat teams this year, especially the good ones.
Well, they traded the number one wide receiver in the NFL last year.
They did, and he's on an 0-3 football team.
He sure is, and he's looked terrible there too.
Yep.
Well, he does have a touchdown, but
I think 10.5 is fair.
10.5. Well, at home in Lambeau, I can understand, but 10, maybe like 4, 5, 6, but 10.5. I think a lot of that has to do with Mac Jones not being there.
Yeah, if Mac Jones were starting, it would be a 4.5, 3.5, 4.5 point favorite for Green Bay. I mean, And we're not even talking about like a late December game in Green Bay. We're
No.
talking about a first week of October game in Green Bay. Like it's still going to be warm. Like the leaves probably haven't all changed yet. I think 10.5 is fair. I would put my money on Green Bay this week.
Oh, I think I think people will be smashing that, sir.
I mean, I think I would take them as 10.5 point favorites, and I'd probably will see over under 40.5. I would take the over.
Yeah, I think the Green Bay and the Patriots at this point where the season is right now are extremely similar teams. They're both super run heavy teams right now. Patriots right now with Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, and Packers with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon right now because they kind of have to be because they're for the Green Bay, their offensive weapons aren't that good. I understand Romeo Doubs had a fantastic game on Sunday for his rookie year, which he kind of has to be because obviously Devontae Adams is in Las Vegas now. But I think this match is kind of even, to be honest with you. I really don't. People take the Packers on this because it's Aaron Rodgers. I just don't really see it this year.
I'm taking the Packers in here.
I'm taking them too, but not.
Well, I'm taking them here not because of Aaron Rodgers. I'm taking them. My TV randomly just unmuted. That's very strange. I'm taking them here
because I know my girlfriend's about to call me and all my computers are about to explode. Because I live in the synergy, baby. They're all connected.
They're all connected. I'm taking Green Bay here because of the team that
go off.
I'm taking Green Bay here because of the team that the Patriots aren't, not because of Aaron Rodgers. This is just a despicable coaching staff, and I want the players to win in spite of the coaches because I'm still a supporter of the players in uniform that are going to go out there every week. I think they're being done a disservice. And I know I just went off about that for like 20 minutes, but I truly believe it. It's a disservice to the 53 players on this roster. And the way they have handled Kendrick Bourne is despicable.
Hold on. I got a thing about that. There you go.
Oh, wonderful. I got no problem with little Jordan Humphrey. You know what I mean? Like, I got no problem with him.
Nope.
I got a problem with paying Kendrick Bourne $9 million a year. He's probably the best weapon you have in the passing game, and you're gonna leave him on the bench. Ramondre Stevenson isn't getting enough snaps. Kendrick Bourne isn't getting enough snaps.
You don't think Ramondre's getting enough snaps? He outsnapped Damian Harris last week.
He needs more.
So you think he should be the starter?
He's the horse. He should be the starter.
I think it became clear this week against the Ravens that Damian Harris is not in the Patriots long-term plans. I think that became crystal clear versus this during this matchup versus the Ravens. I thought it became crystal clear.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but they're clearly they're underutilizing both of those players, and that is doing a complete disservice. This team has no direction, and I think they're gonna get walloped by the Packers. I've talked myself into it.
What do you think about their $25 million investment in tight end?
Being completely misused because their coaching staff is completely and utterly gross.
This is what blows my mind because Hunter Henry was at least a top scoring tight end in the NFL last year. He had 9 touchdowns. I don't think he has 5 catches this year through 3 games. And
Craig, they brought in everything they wanted to bring in to reconstruct what was probably the best
I know
offense in Patriots history. They brought in the 2 wide net. Now everybody's like, well, Hunter Henry isn't Rob Gronkowski. You're absolutely right. Jonnu Smith isn't Aaron Hernandez. Mac Jones isn't Tom Brady. Ramondre Stevenson isn't Corey Dillon. Devontae Parker isn't Randy Moss. We got to get past those comparisons. But with those players,
more of a LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah, okay, fine. LeGarrette Blount, that's better. Minus all the weed and car crashes. That we know of.
That was about to say.
But they brought in all these pieces that they wanted to recreate the offense that they had. If this team, if they were making a movie about the best offense in Patriots history, this is the cast that they're having play those parts. Like, that's exactly what they're doing here. So why is Kendrick Bourne not on the field? He's your slot guy. He's your Wes Welker style guy. They didn't throw over the middle hardly at all. And when they did, it was deep in routes or deep hook routes to Parker, which one got intercepted.
Yep.
And they have a guy on the bench that played 20 snaps that can very easily run those routes and catch those balls. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. You spend all the money, you invest the money, and then you refuse to use it correctly. Doesn't work for me.
It's just, it's not surprising, but we always find our way back here to the bitching about the Patriots coaching staff. It's not surprising that we ended up back here, but it's just been such. It's not a subject that we can avoid. We can talk about, Mac Jones's ankle all we want, but the team is 1-2. They're probably going to be 1-3 after Sunday, which is, by the way, what we predicted them to be. I find it very hard to hammer on them for a record. For them hitting a record I thought they would be at, but here we are. We have a show to do. It's not the show we did, a month ago, 2 months ago. This is what we have right now.
Until the cows come home. At this point,
say it again.
I'll hammer the coaches until the cows come home. Sure. At this point,
I'll
get on the players for bad performances. There were guys on Sunday that deserve to be beaten up for their performances. Not everybody. I think they played well despite the coaching staff. I think Mac was asked to do something that he shouldn't be doing on the field. You pointed it out in a tweet on the MTP pod the other day that Jack Jones was one of the best defensive backs in the league this week, the rookie Jack Jones, and he was. You don't remember your own tweet?
I don't remember tweeting that. I remember tweeting that Dietrich Wise is having a tremendous defensive year.
And he's having a tremendous year too. I mean, he got to he got to Lamar twice this weekend. I mean, they're playing well. They're playing well despite the coaching staff. But it's tough when there's no direction.
And that's the overarching thing. There is no direction. I think I really want to say there is, but I just don't see it. I understand what they're trying to do. It's like Pee Wee coaches trying to teach in the NFL. It really is. And I understand. Maybe that's not fair to certain people, but this is one of the most prolific franchises in the NFL. And since 2000, let's be real. Tom Brady's last year was awful too here in New England. There was no offensive weapons. It ended with that Logan Ryan interception in return for a touchdown, first round of the playoffs versus Tennessee versus Mike Vrabel. And even before that, I would say the Patriots offense stopped being good in 2018 when Gronk got hurt for the final time, and he stopped playing for the Patriots after that. Since that point, I can't remember a good game with it. I can't remember. It's been 3 years now, 3 years, maybe more, where I haven't been able to sit down on a Sunday and watch a Patriots game and just remember the pure Patriots dominance that I used to see, where they just came out gangbusters and scored a hell of a bunch of points. I haven't seen that since 2018.
Now I just go to the games, I drink beers, I hang out with my dad, and I have a friend whose wife is a Patriots cheerleader, and she's the highlight of the day for all of us at this point.
Is that our mutual acquaintance?
What's that?
Is that our mutual acquaintance?
Yes, because she's outstanding. She does a great job on the field, and she waves to me every game. So
that's adorable.
It is. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy our waving. Her husband was there this weekend as well, and he was sitting the next section over. So, but that's the whole point. I've always gone to these games since 1991. My dad's been a season ticket holder since 1981. He's seen this team fail and succeed, and I watched him cry after they won their first Super Bowl. And we've seen the ups and the downs and the goods and the bads and the Tony Easons to the Tom Bradys to the, Stanley Morgans and the Randy Mosses. And we all, Patriots fans as a whole, deserve better than what Bill Belichick is putting on the field right now in terms of a coaching staff.
Let me ask you this. we're about the same age in our unfortunately mid-30s at this point. Sorry. But
okay.
your Patriots history goes back a lot further than mine. Is this the worst you've seen this Patriots team?
No,
No, it's been worse.
no. Early 90s, before Parcells got in here, those were the worst teams I had ever seen. And now I know my father and my uncle and people that I've gone to games with and people that are much older than us, twice our age, even more, saw some even worse Patriots teams, some teams that were absolutely despicable. Are we at that level? No, but we deserve better than what's being put in front of our faces.
I miss winning.
Yeah, hey, I mean, it's a cycle, right? Like every dynasty falls. It's the way it goes. The 49ers dynasty fell, the Packers dynasty fell, the Steelers dynasty fell, the Cowboys dynasty fell. It was bound to happen. Who would have thought it would have gone on for 20 years? I mean, nobody ever could have imagined. We absolutely should be thankful that Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady did it for as long as they did in the same place and dealt with each other year in, year out, and gave us the greatest franchise in NFL history. I can accept the fact that we're past that. I appreciate the 6 Super Bowls. And this is the big thing that, well, they got you 6 Super Bowls. Great. They didn't get me those 6 Super Bowls this year. They got me them over the last 22 years. So I'm good. I appreciate it. I love going in there and seeing those banners and knowing that I was at the first one that they won ever in franchise history. But we're now at a point where if we're not going to keep up the same standard for them, then that's on us as a fan base. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, well, they got us 6 Super Bowls. I guess it's okay that we have assembled an abysmal coaching staff completely different than any other team in the league. No, and Bill we trust is dead.
Which is sad, but you've runged it up better than I ever possibly could. And this is our third show on this week. We're gonna have a fourth coming out this week later on. Max thankful because I'm a masochist and I like putting out shows for you guys. But
he is a for lack of a better term, he works us to the bone.
I do, but I do it with love. But
that's what they all say.
Yeah.
Bet you George Washington and Thomas Jefferson said those words too.
I got my own teeth though.
Fair.
Yeah. But that'll about do it for, unless you have any overarching Celtics thoughts. First day of training camp open today.
No, I don't. I'm going to let you boys cover that later in the week. Once the dust settles up there in Waltham, because we think it's a bad coaching situation in Foxborough. Boy, oh boy, is this thing going to be a mess.
I still think when the regular season goes around and we got like a week or two into this, things are going to kind of fizzle out on that. It is what it is. I think
they're going to fizzle out, and I don't think Joe Mazzulla is going to be the head coach at the start.
I know you don't, but I think he is. I think that
he's a fill-in.
Sure, and I think he's going to be the coach this year. We're going to find out what happens at the end of this year, what happens with Ime. If you think he's going to be fired relatively soon, which is not a word, but I think they're going to find. I think we're going to revisit this topic in about 8-9 months and see where we're at. But
and all those things you can bet on at betus.com. Get a
right.
125% sign up bonus using the code CROW. Link in description.
Thanks. You say that better than I do, and I'm the one that reads the ad, which is weird.
That's okay. You do well when you're reading the ad. Like I can add.
I am an excellent sponsor reader.
Yeah, you are Ron Burgundy. If it's on the paper, you will read.
I do that so well.
Yep.
This is not. I'm out of my comfort zone on purpose. I do not like doing these kinds of things. I'm like hosting a show and not in control of it behind the scenes. Yeah. But I have to let myself come out of my comfort zone from time to time.
Well, you've done a good job, and people love it when you do this. So we have to keep doing more of this.
Well, I plan to because Mike is in Europe, so I'm kind of stuck with it. So
for now, but even when he comes back.
yeah. Outside of wrestling shows and stuff like that. But
well, right, of course.
yeah.
You
Anyway,
also notice I'm growing my hair out. I'm doing this so that I have enough to pull out with all of these coaching staff issues in New England.
does your wife still do it?
What? Pull my hair?
No, cut your hair.
Oh, I was going to say that's not something we're going to talk about on the air. Cut my hair, yes.
Well,
I have her scratch my head because I clearly you've all been watching me like scratch my head the whole time. You're probably going, "The heck's he scratching his head for?" Well, it's itchy because I'm sweaty.
You do grow a magnificent fro, though.
I do grow a magnificent fro.
All right. So this has been the 617 on the Crowworthy Network. That'll be it for us tonight. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining us on Twitter, thank you. If you're joining us on YouTube, click that bell, hit that subscribe button. I see you out there. I know how many of you have subscribed and not subscribed and watching our videos. I see that number.
Yeah, YouTube tells us those things.
Yeah. And I see the numbers on the podcast. I'm quite happy with those, actually. Quite happy with those.
Don't make Craig have to come and find you to subscribe to our YouTube.
Right.
He is Italian.
Our tiny little YouTube page. I'm coming to get you.
Yep. If you don't know,
Joe, always a pleasure.
Craig, always.
For Joe Malkin, I am Craig Del Sando. This has been the 617 on the Crowworthy Network. We'll be back on Thursday afternoon. Doc Flynn will be with me. I'll talk to her Thursday morning. That'll be out on Thursday afternoon. Very much looking forward to that one. Got her early. We're going to talk about Mac Jones' ankle again, about someone who actually knows something about anatomy.
Yeah, she'll know more than me. I hope she doesn't listen to this episode beforehand.
Yeah, your boy in our alma mater failed anatomy, so not my expertise, obviously. So
point to the doll where anatomy class hurt you.
It hurt me I had to dissect the sheep eye. I hated that. And it was just
when you
bad.
dissected the sheep's eye, were you so bad at anatomy you were like, is this the penis?
Have a good night, Joe.
You too, Craig.
All right, thanks everybody, and we'll talk to you on Friday. All right, bye everybody.